Hi Mew Crew, welcome back to my channel, and today I'm going to be talking about Pokemon Pocket and the newest set, Eevee Grove, but mainly, are Pokemon Pocket bringing out too many sets too quickly? Now, Pokemon Pocket released in October 2024, so this was 7 months ago, coming up 8 months now, and it's just been crazy the amount of sets we've been getting. Now, the Pokemon TCG is very similar in that we have been getting quite a lot of new sets very quickly after the last set has been released, but Pokemon Pocket has been on a completely different level. We've been getting a new set pretty much every month. Now, in the beginning, it was every 6 weeks while people were getting used to the app and getting used to the game and everything, but now it seems to be every month we are getting something new. Is this too much? Are we getting way too much from Pokemon Pocket? Now, this seems like a crazy idea. Like, you know, it's free to play. Why wouldn't it be a good thing that we're getting a lot of content? And I do agree with that aspect, you know, the events, the new battles, everything like that they've been putting out. But in terms of bringing out a set every month, this can be problematic, and this is what I'm going to be talking about. So just to do a quick rundown, Pokemon Pocket is free to play, but it does have microtransactions. So it does include the premium pass, which is, you know, you pay that monthly and, you know, it gives you some extra perks. Arguably, do you get better cards from it when you open packs? That's yet to be seen. Sometimes I feel like that has happened. Sometimes I feel like it doesn't. But yeah, we have that part of it, but there's also, you can buy gold to open new packs or to buy things from the shop. So there is that aspect to it as well. So the idea of the game is the Pokemon Company do want to make money. That's clear. But it should be enjoyable for those who want to do it for free as well. Now, there needs to hit a very fine balance, as if you have people who are free to play and they're not enjoying it, then you're going to lose that aspect. But if you get people who are buying from it but feel like they're not getting any better rewards from it, then that can also be a problem as well. So it's a fine tightrope walk, you know, the business model, trying to get people to, you know, do these microtransactions, but also keeping it fun for the free to play. Now, I have seen mixed reactions of people saying how hard it is to get certain cards, particularly the rarer ones. Some like the challenge, some think it's great that it's not too easy to complete sets. That's what it's all about. Keeps it fun, keeps it interesting, keeps it engaging. However, others have been saying it's quite frustrating, and in a number of different ways. Now, a collector like myself, it is frustrating that you can't get some of the rarer cards very easily. I didn't get a rainbow border card for such a long time. I think it was like 3 sets in I first got a rainbow card, and that felt amazing when I did, and that should feel like a wow, great moment. I've got a rainbow card and it was so hard to get. I get that instant dopamine release and it's like, wow, I finally got one. But then when I've only got one over the space of quite a few sets, that does feel a little bit under rewarding. So yeah, it needs to strike a nice balance. I do feel like personally I get a lot of the 1-star cards, you know, what would be the illustration rare cards. So I've been quite lucky in that aspect, but one thing I do find really frustrating that I also think is a positive about Pokemon Pocket is it's a game very much focused on the gameplay of it. Obviously you can focus on collecting, but me being just a collector has been really fun to play Pokemon Pocket and get interested in the gameplay and the mechanics of how the game works. Now, the original Pokemon TCG, I've never really been interested in playing it. I've only been interested in collecting, so Pokemon Pocket really drew me in the playing aspect and made me appreciate that side of it. However, when I can't even get just one Pokemon EX card from a deck that I'd really like, that can be really frustrating. And considering you typically need 2 of those cards, that is even more so. So currently we have 7 sets since October 2024, and the new Eevee Grove set has just been announced from the Pokemon Company to release on June 26th. It just feels like we're getting too many and we can't even complete even the basic cards from the set before, and that is really frustrating. Like, yeah, I just want to create decks sometimes and I can't even keep up with it because I'm not opening enough packs to get those decks, and it's just too much. Yes, opening packs is free, and there's not that burnout of constantly using your wallet to open new packs. I get that, but the balance is so hard because I open packs every day, and even then sometimes I've kind of not opened packs every day anymore because I get so much burnout and I don't even get anything from it, not even, you know, a holo card, and sometimes they get duplicates of a common card, which is really, really frustrating. A lot of players have recently spoken out about how they get burnout, particularly because we've had 7 sets now and the burnout is becoming very real. For me, I do have ADHD and that dopamine release is incredibly strong. But even I'm starting to feel the burnout of like, I don't feel anything anymore. I just feel really burnt out from all these sets coming out and not being able to complete a set. And I feel like they either need to do one of two things. They need to slow down the sets just a little bit, or they need to up the chances of getting rarer cards, particularly the playable cards. Because the other thing is, since the trade-in has been introduced, that makes things a little bit easier in terms of you might not necessarily need to get the cards that you need, but you can then, if you've got duplicates of other EX cards, where it's like, oh, okay, I don't need that card, but it is a duplicate, so I can trade with someone who might have the card I have, so that's really useful. So I understand that, but yeah, it's other people aren't getting the cards either, so how are we meant to get this? I do understand the wonder picks kind of filling a gap there, but if everyone's getting rubbish packs anyway, then you're not going to see anything come up on those wonder picks, so that's also incredibly frustrating. Now, there is the argument that what would be the point of free to play if everyone could just complete the sets really easily? And I get that. It is a business model. Pokemon do want you to make microtransactions so they make money, but it's also trying to find that fine balance, because you'll also lose players where they feel like they're not actually gaining anything from the free to play at all. There needs to be a balance where the sets are released a little bit less frequently, or they need to make it so that you can get the cards a little easier, particularly some of the like EX cards or the, you know, just the 1 stars. I understand the sort of the rainbow border ones are really, really desirable, and perhaps, you know, they stay at the rarity that they are, but it is frustrating when there's massive gaps in my sets that, you know, I can't fill in, and I don't think I ever will fill in. Now, on the other side of this, another solution for the players is to perhaps, when a new set comes out, perhaps skip that set. Now, for me, the previous set, Extra Dimensional Crisis, I wasn't really too keen on, so I've actually given up on this one now. I did open a few packs, but realised the Ultra Beasts weren't really my thing. So there is the argument that maybe you can just skip a set, and if you're not too bothered about it, then it's no big deal. But some people really struggle with that, especially if you're a bit of a completionist. I can understand the drive to want to complete every set, but you have to be realistic with it, and that's the thing. The problem with this, though, as well, is that if you're also someone who likes to play the game, then you're missing out on all the new decks that have been released to counter perhaps ones that are slightly stronger in the previous set. So yeah, that is trying to strike a balance there, and perhaps skipping this set and coming back to it on the next set where decks are created to counter those ones. That could be an option, but I can understand why this is also incredibly frustrating. Also, there's the argument that new players come into the game. It's going to be very difficult for them to keep up if there's so many cards already released and they can't quite keep up with pack openings of previous sets and creating decks from previous sets when, you know, there's already so much content. Now, this isn't necessarily a bad thing, and it's never something I like to complain about. Oh, there's too much content. Oh my goodness, what a shame. Arguably, it's always the opposite with a lot of games, like there's not enough content to keep up with it. Equally, it can be really frustrating and overwhelming for new players to come to the game and realize there are already so many cards, like over 1,000 cards. Perhaps with that, new players should be able to have quite a few pack openings, like more so than the average player over a set amount of time or something like that, or up the chance they do get better cards, because that's also something to think about. If they're also getting the same sort of luck that we've all been getting, then yeah, a sort of pity system is maybe, you know, I don't like that term, but it has been a term that's been thrown around recently, a pity system, where if you haven't really got anything lately, or if you've not logged in for a while, or if you're a new player, I think it's quite important to throw a few decent cards in there, particularly those playable EX cards. So yeah, it's just something to think about, something that's been on my mind quite recently. And then with the release of the Eevee Grove expansion, I just feel like there needs to be a very good balance now between, you know, having the sets spaced out a bit, or just upping the chances of getting better cards, because I'm really feeling the burnout. I know that's quite specific to me because of my like ADHD tendencies, but also I do feel like a lot of other fans have also expressed this. Now, again, some people might not agree. Some people like that there's new sets and they like that there's new content constantly being thrown out. But I do think if it's more than quite a few people saying the same thing, then it's something to touch upon. What do you think of this? I'd like to hear your thoughts in the comments. Do you feel like you're getting burnout from all the new sets coming out, or do you think it's actually quite a good thing? Do you find it more interesting? Do you find it a lot more fun to play with when there's more sets, more cards, and more stuff to engage with? Let me know what you think, and as always, don't forget to this video a like if you enjoyed it, and hit the subscribe button if you haven't already, and I will see you in the next video.